Hi everyone and welcome to a new vlog. So today, actually at 4 o'clock this morning, I dropped Helena off at the base where the minibus was coming to pick them up to take them to the airport to then take them to the ship. So a little bit tired as I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, but then I went back to bed for a little bit, packed up all my bags, put them in the car, and I thought, as we're leaving quite early, why not go to one of my favourite places, and that is York. So I'm going to do the park and ride because I know that parking in York itself can be quite tricky. So we're going to drive to the park and ride, get on the bus, go into York, have a little bit of a mooch about. I'll tell you a little bit about my history with York because I actually lived there for a little bit. Not long, just a couple of months, but I'll tell you why when we get there. Show you around some of the old haunts, which is quite an appropriate word because most of the places in York claim to be haunted, but it is a wonderful place if you've never been before. So let's go and have a look. Okay, so I'm at the designer outlet and I'm in the park and ride section. So it's about 20 minutes I think on the bus, and I think they come every 10 minutes. Happens to me every single time. I got lost in the shopping centre for half an hour. Why does it happen? So we made it, we're in York, and oh, there's a Waterstones cafe. Should we go and have a look? We went to the Bradford one. I'm in the film and television section. I actually got this for Christmas, and people know that I love Mickey Mouse and Disney so much that I actually got it twice, so I've got a spare one at the moment. But look at this! James Bond 50 years movie posters. It's cool actually, it's all different posters, not just from England or America, but all over the world for the different films. So this is from Russia with Love. So many versions of Monopoly. I think this one's my favourite. Helena, they've got a Bills! So here we've got Betty's. This is a famous tea room, very fancy tea room as well. I've never been in, but it always looks very nice, and there's always a massive queue. Look at that, people to get in. So this is why I love York, because there's streets like this. But this street was very important to me. So you see this sign here for the Ye Olde Star Inn, York's oldest licensed inn. Well, I actually stayed there, lived there for about a month while I worked at the York Dungeon here in York. My dad has been working in pubs for many years, and he was a manager, and he knew somebody that ran the Ye Olde Star Inn, so I was able to crash there for a month and had a great time. There are just so many unique shops down all of these streets, all of these alleys. You could just spend so much time here. It's a great place to come. It's a bit busier today because I think the kids are still off school. And here we've got a very impressive sight. This is York Minster. So beautiful. Oh, you can hear the bells in the background. Don't know what it is, but there's just something about York that you just feel instantly relaxed when you're here. That's why it's one of my favourite places, and I love the fact that it's steeped so much in history. The one thing you are not short of in York is pubs. And that's why it's very popular for stag and hen do's. I'm sure somebody actually told me once when I was here that there was once 365 pubs. One for every day of the year. Don't think there is now. One of the highlights, one of the fun things you can do is actually walk the city walls. So I've just jumped up for a little bit, give you an idea of what you can expect. The only thing is, once you get up here, you don't really know where the next set of stairs is going to be. Seen some great views though, but I've no idea where I'm going to end up. I can see the way out. Very narrow. So at the top of there, when I came down, there's the Richard III experience. There's charges for it. Don't know what it entails. Look at the ye olde building. Now Italian pizzeria. I love that these are still standing. Look at this! They're opening a cat cafe. The Cat's Whiskers. Opening soon. Before I show you the Shambles, which is a highlight of York, this is the Golden Lion pub, and this is a pub that I spent quite a bit of time in when I was living here in York. Just been into Thomas the Baker, got myself a cheese and red onion roll and also a corned beef roll. York's Chocolate Story, this is another attraction. This was actually just opening when I was here. Got a lot of Harry Potter merchandise here because the Shambles, when we walk down it, it will make you think of Diagon Alley, and some say that it's the inspiration. Are you ready? Here's the Shambles. So what do you think? Diagon Alley? All the different shops, all with quite a rustic look. Small doorways. I love it down here. The potions cauldron. Make your own potion. Hotter Scotch beer. And obviously a lot of people cashing in on the link to Harry Potter. Why not? So you've got over here, you've got the shop that must not be named, and then we've got the boy wizard over there and the world of wizardry. Now a lot of these shops are very small, so a lot of them are very busy, so I've not been able to get in, but this is the window for the boy wizard. The shop that must not be named. Wizards are welcome. Oh no, they've got pop vinyl figures. One of my favourite characters, Gilderoy Lockhart. No, I've already bought 3 pops this week. Seemingly the least busy shop is the world of wizardry. We really wanted these before we went round the studios. The Christmas jumpers. $42.99. That was amazing. Oh, Helena, you would have loved that. There's so much that you could buy. I think my favourite one though was the world of wizardry, because there was a lot more space and there wasn't as many people in it. So the Golden Fleece was actually seen on Most Haunted, and apparently there's 5 ghosts of the Golden Fleece. Alice Peckett, said to be found roaming the endless corridors and staircases. Jeff Monroe, located on the 3rd floor. One-Eyed Jack, said to be dressed in a red coat in the bottom bar. Grumpy Old Man, sighted in the bottom bar, this time crouched in a small alcove, and a small child immediately behind the entrance to the pub, where the youngest of the ghosts has been most commonly sighted. So if you come to the Golden Fleece, let us know if you see any of those ghosts. Whoa. So there it is, the York Dungeon. That's where I worked. I worked over the Easter period in about it would have been around this time. And that was, I think, around 2011, 2012. I can't remember which year exactly. But yeah, I enjoyed my time there. I was actually offered a position to stay there a bit more permanent, but I had another job that had kept my position open. So I had to go back there. But yeah, I have fond memories. One of the funniest things is that you would have to come out the side door down here, and then you'd have to walk up and round the front to go back in if you were starting on a certain position. I don't know whether they still have to do that, but yeah, you'd go outside in all of your makeup. Yeah, so there's the gift shop. And then you'd come through that door there and go round. So the Lowther was the pub that we'd go to after a hard day of scaring people. And so we've got this area here. Now this is notorious for flooding, and actually a few months after I left, this whole area right up to York Dungeon, and they had to close and they had to do quite a bit of work. I haven't said what I actually did at York Dungeon. So yeah, I was a scare actor. I'd just come out of college, Newcastle College, and wanted to do some acting, and saw an audition in York for the York Dungeon, I thought, well, if I get it, how am I going to live there? And then my dad brought up the idea of staying at the Yield Star Inn. And actually, the guy that hired me, Mark Pollard, he was a lovely man. He really was. And tragically, I found out a couple of years ago that he died of cancer. He was a lovely man. So yeah, I thank you for accepting me into the family and starting my Merlin journey off, because then I went and worked for Shrek's Adventure in London. But yeah, you're a great guy, Mark. This is an iconic site in York. This is Clifford's Tower, and a lot went down at Clifford's Tower. In fact, one of the stories is just here on a plaque. On the night of Friday the 16th of March 1190, 150 Jews and Jewesses of York sought protection in the royal castle on this site from a mob, and they chose to die at each other's hands rather than renounce their faith. Heavy stuff. It was built by William the Conqueror, and I've never actually been inside. There's a price with gift aid and without gift aid. So if it's with gift aid, £6.30 for an adult, £5.70 if you're not doing gift aid. And then child, £3.80 with gift aid, £3.40 non-gift aid. But there's also the York Castle Museum, which I have been in before, but I think I remember I really enjoyed it. So I might go and have a look and see how much that is to go in. I went in, it's about a tenner. So I might Google it and see what it says on the website about what's inside it, because I can't remember it at all. I think I went in with my dad once. But I love museums, I really do. But I think I'm going to find a patch of grass to have my pasty and my sandwich. I'm doing a lot of reflecting and reminiscing while I'm here, just because the memories are just flooding back from when I worked here, and just thinking about Mark, who I mentioned before. One of the funny stories was that obviously you play different characters inside the York dungeon, and one of the characters is to do with Dick Turpin. I won't give too much away, and the character is supposed to be a Cockney, but I've never been very good at doing accents, and so as a result, like, we would rehearse it and Mark would watch, and then he said, "I'll tell you what, Martyn, I can see that you're struggling with this. How about we just added a line where the character has moved from Newcastle?" So at the beginning of the speech, I would say, "Oh yeah, I've just moved down from Newcastle," and then I'd go on with the script. Here's a corned beef roll. Yum yum. So I forgot to say, I actually bought a book from Waterstones, and it's a book that Helena pointed out to me the other day. And it's a health and well-being book, but it's got quite a sweary title, so I'm not going to show it to you. But it's, to put it in a polite way, it's to do with not letting people get to you and not thinking too hard about things. I think. But Helena seemed really excited about it, so sort of had that in the back of my mind. And then when I read a little bit of it in the Waterstones, I thought, yeah, this does sound good. And I've not been much of a book reader throughout my life, and I always say, right, I'm going to try my hardest to read more books. But I've always said I'm going to try my hardest to go to the gym, and I've never been able to do that until now. So because I've got that focus in that aspect of my life, I'm going to try and put that focus now onto reading small books. Just looking at the time, I think I might have to give the museum a miss, just because I want to try and get back to Newcastle at a good time, so like 4:30, 5 o'clock, so then I can have the evening. I also want to go to the gym in Newcastle as well, and yeah, just so I've got a bit more of the day left when I get there. And also I want to see people as well. So I think we're going to head back to where the bus dropped me off, and we'll get back to the car. I could stay here for ages though, I really could. I love it. Helena, I'm saying it now, I'm calling it, we're going to spend a weekend here when we're both back. It is a hot one. What a lovely day it's been walking around York. If you're gonna get the park and ride from the designer outlet, then it drops you off right next to the York Dungeon. It's £3.20 for a return ticket, so not bad at all, and you can actually use your card to pay as well to get on the bus. But I'm going to set off now to Newcastle. I'm going to leave this vlog here. As the camera is flashing and about to die, I will say we will see you in the next video. Bye!